DIY, do it yourself, like the ethic, I mean, obviously it can mean a lot of things. It can be anything from building a bookshelf yourself or creating an entire music festival. But the whole idea is that you don't have to rely on other people to give you everything. You don't have to rely on some guy setting up a structure for you to make money or something like that, that you can actually make what you want and you can do it how you want.
It's more of a chance to work with other people. Whether it's building bikes, sharing knowledge, getting help from other people, or working with other artists and, seeing what they're doing on their own time. I think it's good to have a community of people that like to create things. It's not yourself, it's not like you're by yourself, but you get the chance to work with other people.
I'd say that a large scale dissatisfaction with mainstream culture is what drives people to participate in the DIY scene and culture. Like when you realize that, like cars are polluting a lot and you start riding a bike, or you realize that factory farming is polluting a lot and so you stop eating meat, and it's like once you realize that the actions and the things that you're participating in might be contributing to things that you don't agree with, you have to find a way to not contribute to those things.
Where does all this come from? It comes from we're going to break away from this immoral, exploitative, anti-human system. We're going to create something that's good and we're going to nurture it and we're going to do it right this time.
Here in Tallahassee, I actually have a chance that if there's something that I want to happen, I can take it into my own hands and create it, And we wanted to have more shows around. So what did we do? We rented a house, we put up some lights, we bought a speaker system, and we said, bands, come here from wherever you want and play for us. And I really, really enjoy that. It's my favorite part, is just actually producing culture.
When I was growing up as a kid, it always seemed like something you couldn't do. Like, there were the people who booked shows and that's what they did, and you were just the kid who went to shows. And after doing it for a while, I just realized how easy it is. If you like a band or something and you want them to come to your town, you can email them or call them and let them know that you're interested.
There's been several bands that I've approached via Facebook or email and I've wanted them to play there. There's also been people that have approached us, which has been really surprising to me actually as we've gone on. When we started, we were always asking people to play, and it took only like a month and a half before we were getting emails and we started turning down shows.
I would say that a band in the DIY punk scene, usually as a goal, they go out to make friends, spread ideas, and build community.
So yeah, everything within DIY culture has a certain amount of ideology behind it. It's the reason why that thing is what it is. It's the reason why it was created in the first place, to move outside of the system and say we can have our own things, we can do it better, we can do it over here. We can do it without the market influences, we can do it because of the thing itself is good, and that's what we want. But of course these things too can be attacked. Right? They can be deconstructed and they can become the same commodities that we're fighting against. Take bike polo for instance. It's already happening there.
Bike polo is pretty much like street hockey on bicycles. We play 3 versus 3 and we play on concrete and pretty much can play with any kind of bicycle you want. Right now the bike polo scene is really small. It's growing in popularity.
We look up north, there's huge teams now. Right? It's kind of becoming an industry. There's teams sponsored by American Apparel.
I mean, I'm going to continue to build my own stuff regardless of how many companies start producing, polo mallets or polo bikes. It's a much better feeling when you make it yourself.
There was a really ritzy fashion show that happened recently. One of the things on the fashion show was a guy walking down, the super buff guy, right? Walking down the runway, right? He has a little short brim hat and a bike polo mallet. And that was his style that he was showcasing. It's hilarious.
Any time when you tie capitalist goals of profit into anything, you're going to ruin it. And that's the cool thing about touring on your own terms is, when you're booking house shows, the bands that are coming aren't looking to get famous or make money. They want to play music, they have something to say, they want people to hear it.
As far as music is concerned, I can't stand the man. My band, Rickety Cricket, is playing a show at one of the bigger venues here called Floyd's, right? We booked this show with this band, Less Than Jake, and now my roommate is getting emails from tons of different people. There's gonna be a manager, there's an agent, there's 2 promoters. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what all these people are for. When somebody emails us, we say, hey, come over and play. We're like, hey, do you want to stay over? Do you want some food? What do you want? And that's all there is to it. I don't understand why there has to be so much red tape involved in something so easy as just getting a band on stage.
Anyone who tries to be part of any DIY scene with a lack of ideology, the lack of politic, then you're wasting your time, you're wasting everyone else. It's tantamount to masturbation, to sit around and pretend you're making a difference when all you're doing is this self-serving nonsense to help build a little enclave for you to live in and be happy. If you're not fighting any fights, then honestly you're missing the point.
A lot of times you have to go into the bike shop, crank it up to modify your bike, because there's certain tools you need that people don't keep at their house.
Krank It Up is a community bicycle project. The whole idea is to demystify the bicycle and bicycle maintenance so that anyone can ride, repair, build their own bike, and have access to transportation.
We don't want any government telling us how to run this. We don't want to be subservient to an owner who needs to derive a profit margin. We're going to run this thing voluntarily, donation-based, just enough to get by, for the sake of providing the service outside of the market structure.
It's really convenient to have a place where you can go and work on your bike and feel safe and not have to worry about not knowing how to build a bike. Everyone there is very friendly. They'll help you learn how to make a bike. They'll give you an alternative means of transportation or the knowledge to teach other people. When it comes to like Bread and Roses, they're helping with the environment, teaching you about buying and eating locally grown food.
Bread and Roses is a member worker run food co-op in town, which means that everyone who is a member of the co-op has to work there. There are no employees. Everyone's a volunteer, and the purpose of Bread and Roses existing is to make food cheap for everyone, not to make a profit. It's basically to make enough to sustain the space and to have food for everyone to eat.
I think this kind of do-it-yourself thing promotes an ethic that is less about money too, and more about passion, and not everybody needs to get famous or do this or that. It's just about doing what you want and having a good time, and I also think it promotes supporting people for what they want to do. Even if maybe you don't completely understand it or care about it, you just respect the fact that those people are there and they have something to say.
Make no mistake, all of these projects necessarily conflict and challenge with modern capitalism. That's what it's all about. It's literally challenging capitalism. Challenging capitalism within culture. Challenging capitalism within the food production. At the core of it, where all this stuff is coming from is we're looking at all this terror within society, all of this waste, all of this inequality, all of this exploitation and injustice. And we're saying, okay, let's build something else that's outside of that. And with the eventual goal of, once we build our own infrastructure, we can do away with this oppressive system.
If you feel like maybe you're not represented in the music that's in the mainstream or something, and there's probably other people like you who feel like they're not represented too, and if you start a band, you kind of give visibility to whatever group of people feels marginalized. It just improves the community in general. It's the same thing, I guess, with all the social issues that we feel like we talk about in our band. The more you talk about them, the more visible they are, and then the more chance there is of them being fixed.
A lot of people want to play in Tallahassee because we kind of have a sweet house show scene. We have a good music scene in this town. We really do. So there got to a point where there's a lot of stress on the different houses that were having shows. So a lot of these cats got together and said, okay, we're still going to do house shows. This isn't a replacement for house shows, but we should have a space that is guaranteed for this, that we can protect and promote as a constant. It isn't going to be someone's house where someone else is moving into. It's going to be a landmark, right, that we can maintain and keep up throughout the years and nurture the music scene and just have it be awesome. So that's what the Far Side became.
The Far Side is an all-ages, sober space. I like to call it like a community space. It's not just a show venue. We do have more shows than anything else there, but we've had film nights, we've had potlucks, we've had benefits for various like political causes. So we wanted to take away anything that would make people feel uncomfortable about going to a show.
Any money that goes in stays in. Like, no one's getting a paycheck from this. This is all volunteers doing this.
I think we kind of operate on the same principles as booking a show at the house. It's like, what are you saying? Like what ideas are you putting out into the world? Is this something that we want the Far Side to be associated with? Like, we just want to be a place that serves the community and not just kids that want to go to a punk show or whatever.
My real fear for the Far Side is that one day it'll just become a venue for the sake of being a venue and not any larger ideas. Venues should care about music and they should care about all that, but music to what ends is the question. Are we making this music just because like it's really fun to hang out with your friends and sing songs? Or are we making this music because it's a liberatory and a revolutionary experience to create your own thing, have your own fun, and do it outside of these oppressive structures?
The important thing is writing the song. The important thing is being there, and the important thing is like being cool to people and communicating to them, you know, through your music. We can't all equally put out a high budget movie production, you know? We can try, but it's not really as easy. And but what we can do is we can all get together in a room and just play some instruments, you know? A G chord is a G chord no matter what income bracket you're in.
These organizations wouldn't exist if these people weren't as passionate about, you know, about them. Places like Krank It Up, if it wasn't for all those mechanics that volunteer and keep that thing running, I mean, we wouldn't have that community bike shop and there would be a lot less bikes on the road. I guess it depends on the organization, but it's really, they're just, they're helping show you how you can get involved and how you can actually make a difference with the environment and learning how to help out yourself.
Tallahassee is a special town and we should fight every day to keep it that way and create our own culture rather than consuming someone else's, and live our lives rather than modeling our lives off of what we see on TV or the lives of other people who we think are cool.